That economic plan in which Donald Trump says he could get our growth up to roughly double what it is right now, 3.5% to 4%. By and large, a lot of people who listen to that, watch that, follow that, so that eased a lot of their nerves about what he would bring should he get elected president economically. And MacGuineas, president of the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, on the details of that policy and what her views were of it. Maya, very good to have you. To just see a smattering of the press, not across the board, those who say his numbers don't add up, but that they appreciated the numbers nevertheless, and that he did a lot on the policy front, the economic policy front, with which he's most comfortable, to assuage doubters, maybe doubters in that room. What do you think?
I thought it was an important speech for Donald Trump for a number of reasons. One, it was a more disciplined, focused, and policy solution-oriented speech than we had heard from him when he was talking about his economic plan. And I think that kind of laid out a framework and a plan with more detail than we'd seen before. Number two, and very importantly from my perspective, his previous tax and economic plan had been incredibly fiscally irresponsible in that it would have added over $10 trillion to the national debt, a debt that's already on track to increase by another $9 trillion over that same 10-year period if we do nothing. So that's a lot of debt. And his plan, he scaled back significantly, where he brought back the size of the tax cuts, and he laid out another option for offsetting some of those cuts with spending cuts. I do think the numbers don't add up, and I think they're overly reliant on economic growth, but I was very glad to see the plan moving more towards the area of fiscal reality, if not yet getting to fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, he gave and he took back. I mean, he was originally talking about a top rate, for example, to your point, of 25%. I think in this latest proposal it's 33%. But for those in that top bracket, they should dial back their expectations because he will limit their write-offs, et cetera. Having said all of that, he says it's going to help create this economic boom that will translate into this great growth. Jack Welch, who we're going to show a bit of a little later on, is convinced of that. But we all know that growth can solve a lot of problems, can deal with wiping away deficits, maybe taking a stab at this debt. But that kind of growth, what do you think?
Yeah, I wish it were true. I think the campaign is overly wishful in arguing that it would be true, and here's why. When we've had higher levels of growth in the past, one of the main reasons was we had demographics on our side. The baby boomers were in their prime working years. What we should have been doing at that time was a lot of the things he's talking about, reforming the tax code,
right,
but also reforming our entitlement programs. And we did not. And that is a huge missed opportunity that is going to hurt us and is hurting us already now, because those baby boomers are moving into retirement. That means much costlier promises will have to be fulfilled on the entitlement side, and it means slower growth. So when we're talking about growth rates increasing by 75% or more from where they are right now, with demographics working against us, I'm afraid that's just not realistic, and we certainly shouldn't be banking on it on these fiscal plans, because if we do have plans that would still add trillions of dollars to the debt, as this one in all likelihood would, that actually brings down your growth rates. Those higher levels of debt would harm us economically and slow growth, and that's exactly what we don't want to be doing.
But even if we get a little bit more than we have in this subpar recovery, it would be better. But we'll see.
All growth would be better. That's right. We need growth to fix this problem, but we can't grow our way out of this problem.
Maya, thank you very much. And Maya knows this. You folks at home know this. But to explain again for those who aren't steeped in this stuff, more growth, better economic growth, just to state the obvious here, means more people working, businesses thriving, and more taxes coming into Uncle Sam, which does a lot of good unless they spend it all crazily and piss it all away. That's a big concern.